We're live.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Kind of Funny Screencast, Kind of Funny show where we talk all about movies, TV, and streaming services. I am Tim Gettys, joined by one of the movie bros herself, Joey Noel.
What's up?
The big dog, Kevin Coelho, in his little pink world.
Yes.
How you doing over there?
Pretty good.
I like that we finally get some background for you. It's not just a white wall.
Yeah, I've moved into my second non-permanent spot.
The Kevin Coelho story.
Yeah.
And making his screencast debut, Blessing at Aoye Jr.
What's up? Video games are cool, but films are also cool. Also, this is like my third time on Screencast. What's up?
That's not true.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He was
I
on it
was
during
on-
Up and Comer.
I was on it during Up and Comer. I was on it for Sonic, the movie.
That was screened fast.
Oh, you're right.
See, I had that in mind. I forgot about the up and comer time. So fine. We also have the return of a very special guest on the show. It's been way too long, but ladies and gentlemen, I finally have Starbucks iced coffee. Joey and I made the revelation that they're still doing mobile pickup orders. So, it's been a fun week.
I will say that I regret not having you get me one this morning, but
Yeah. I'm telling you.
everyone makes mistakes, you know?
You can get this show ad-free by going to patreon.com/kindoffunny, just like our Patreon producers, Mohammed, Justin Tops, Das Bear Jew, Blackjack, and Jared Brown did. We appreciate all of them so very, very much. But if you don't have bucks to toss our way, that's cool. You can go to youtube.com/kindoffunny or roosterteeth.com to watch later for free with ads. It's all good. The other thing you can do, listen to this show as a podcast. Search your favorite podcast service for Kind of Funny Screencast. We like to give you options. Whatever you want, we're there for you. I'm loving the Kev figure. Look at that face. That's
Every
a face
time.
of determination.
It's just-
Kevin, what happened to the pink?
What do you mean?
Where'd the pink go? It's not as pink anymore.
It's getting a lot of light because there's a window back there. You see,
Oh,
and so if I
I
cover
see.
it, I think it'll pick up the pink more. But then
Pick up the pink.
the white balance changes. You see?
Gotcha. Okay, because it looked like you were inside of a mouth. I kind of like that look for you. You know?
Yeah, no,
Good
me too.
Lord. Right before the show started, I was telling you guys that I had a fun Twitter interaction today with Joey Sasso. Joey from the Netflix reality show The Circle.
The hit reality.
Yeah,
show.
definitely. And I enjoyed it because he was tweeting about Degrassi, The Next Generation, aka the
course.
greatest show ever made. And are you a Degrassi partaker, Bless?
Oh, dude, I love Degrassi. I
Hell
watched
yeah.
Degrassi probably way past most people did. Like, I was watching Degrassi in like 2010.
Good. Because I love Degrassi, and it turns out Joey does as well. And me and him were going back and forth on Twitter about it. I'm like, this is a conversation I never thought I'd have with someone. So that
That's
was pretty
awesome.
funny. Pretty
love
damn
it.
funny. Makes me want to
That's real
rewatch
good.
Degrassi. We were talking about it recently,
Dude.
Joey.
I can't imagine that it's good.
Oh, it is. I
You think
guarantee
so?
it is. Yeah. Because it went
You-
there, man. Even
I
at the
know
time,
it went there.
It's like,
It was progressive, really, for the time.
which
'cause
I feel now just makes it feel modern.
that's true. But I also feel like the acting can't be good.
I mean, they're kids, though. I think it's different. Like,
Really?
I think we would judge it differently because it felt fairly real and balanced. Some of the early seasons might be a little more rough because they were like real little.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Little babies.
Mm-hmm.
Where can
Yeah.
we watch it?
I don't know.
Let me check it.
It was
I-
streaming for a while.
I used to watch Degrassi on it was like Degrassi.com or something like that, like Nick.com/Degrassi. Back when I was keeping up with it week to week.
Is there a reason for the name?
It's
a
an-
high
It's the name of the
school.
high school.
Oh, okay. And this is
Now,
just
Kev, here's the thing about Degrassi though that's really crazy.
Ooh.
So
Wait, did
Degrassi-
Kevin not watch Degrassi?
No, he didn't.
Wait,
Unfortunately.
it's 14 seasons of this thing?
Yeah. So Kev,
There's
the
like
show
real old ones.
the show started in
new
the
shows to it.
80s,
Oh.
and there was a high school named Degrassi, and it was about this kid named Snake. Like his nickname was Snake, and like he was the main character. And they made Degrassi the Next Generation. Snake becomes the principal, and it's about his
Oh,
daughter.
That's
Emma,
pretty cool.
Who goes to the school.
Stepdaughter?
Wait,
right?
so you guys
Yeah.
aren't talking about Degrassi Next Generation?
We are.
No, we're talking about
No,
next
we are.
Next,
That's like
Next Generation
that's
is the one we
classic
grew
one.
up with.
Got it.
And
Yeah.
then there was a lot more after that.
Next
but it's
Class.
all
Yeah.
it's all connected.
There was
in the
Next
world.
Class, which I did watch. I watched quite a bit of Next Class.
Me
I
too.
believe
Wait, so
like
there's
it was
Next
on
Class
I didn't watch
and
that
Next
one either.
Generation?
Wait, no, Next Class. Next
Oh,
Class
wait,
was in
was-
between Netflix and Next Generation.
So there's also Degrassi High, which is in
That's the old
1989.
one.
That's
Yeah.
the OG.
That's the old
Degrassi
one.
Junior High, which is in 1987, and then there's just Degrassi. I'm not seeing a Next Generation.
They
No,
might
Next
have just
Generation-
rebranded Next Generation as just Degrassi.
But it was definitely
From
called Degrassi the Next
2001.
Generation. Yep,
Yeah.
that was ours.
Okay, yeah, that's ours. Okay, that was your guys's.
But the thing about it, Bless, is
14
me and my
seasons.
friends were so into this show that I would try to like torrent the episodes before they would come out. But I realized around like season 4 that the episodes debut in Canada first because it's a Canadian show, and there was an entire season that had aired in Canada. So in one night we got to binge watch before binging was even a thing.
Oh my
And
gosh.
I called my friends over and we literally had like 6 dudes just sitting there watching an entire season of Degrassi. It was awesome.
That's
Kev,
perfect.
there's 2 episodes you should watch because Kevin Smith directed.
Oh,
2
that's
episodes.
right.
Yeah, I've seen that.
It is a huge fan
I
of
forgot.
Degrassi.
Isn't Jay in the background in one or?
They're both in. They're in an episode. Jay and Silent Bob are in an episode.
Yeah, that's.
Which is-
I didn't know any of this.
Can we
That's
add that
hilarious.
to Kevin Smith in review,
Hell
please?
yes.
That
Just-
crossover is
man.
insane.
You gotta love it. Anyways, let's get into the news of the Screencast here. So the biggest news of the week is definitely an update to the ongoing AMC theater situation, and this week it took a turn. Took a turn for the worst, I would say. Universal and AMC are straight up beefing, and this has been an ongoing thing over the last week, essentially, where Universal came forward and was like, "Yo, Trolls is killing it. We did what they're calling PVOD, which is Premium Video on Demand, where we've been talking about on the show of movies that should be in theaters coming first to digital release or whatever because of the situation we're in. Trolls made a lot of money. Let me see if I can actually pull up the numbers here. The Trolls World Tour experiment was a huge success, with the movie grossing almost $100 million in rentals within 3 weeks of its PVOD release, amounting to $77 million in revenue for Universal. This is because Universal retains 80% of rental fees, in contrast to the roughly 50% take from traditional box office ticket sales. In response to the success, one of the higher ups at Universal said, "The results for Trolls World Tour have exceeded our expectations and demonstrated the viability of PVOD." So then this is what sparked the trouble. They said, "As soon as theaters reopen, we expect to release movies in both formats." So AMC was like,
Holy
"Oh,
shit, that's
hell
crazy."
no." Yeah, so it's simple math where you look at it and it's like it technically didn't make as much money as it would have in theaters if all things were projected correctly, but they ended up taking home way more money because of just where the money would go.
Yeah.
So yeah, AMC comes forward and is just like, we are not going to play any Universal movies anymore in our theaters, which is freaking insane.
That's some bullshit. That's
Can
some
they do that?
bullshit. I mean, yeah.
I mean, yeah, they can do whatever
choose
they want.
Whatever they want.
But like, does it make sense for them to do that? Because they're just losing money. at that
Absolutely
point,
not.
right?
Yeah, like this is a move of threats right now. It's empty threats that are all trying to force people's hands into working together. But this then caused Regal theaters to also say they're not playing Universal movies. So now we have 2 of the most major theater chains saying they're not going to play Universal movies. So when we're thinking Universal, obviously we have like Trolls here, right? But Universal is also the Despicable Me movies, Secret Life of Pets. Like they have a huge division of like money-making kids movies. On top of that, obviously, Fast and Furious franchise, Jurassic Park franchise. Like these are some of the biggest movie-making franchises that exist, right? Obviously, Disney kind of has almost monopoly on the biggest franchises, but Universal has a couple mega bangers right there, right?
What's crazy with this news is like, think about how many places now we can go see these movies here. The Cinemark theaters, and like the little small shitty chain theaters. That's like, there's what, 2 Cinemark theaters in the like. Well, in San Francisco, there's only 1, right?
Yeah,
which is
but that's the
Century
thing. At what point is Cinemark going to come forward and say the same thing?
I mean, if they do that, then it's like, what? That's insane.
But like that's the kind of threat battle that we're playing in right now, right? Like I feel like Cinemark needs to come forward So that Universal's like, okay, fine, we won't do this. We'll respect the window. So the direct quote from AMC was, "It's disappointing to us, but Jeff's comments as to Universal's unilateral actions and intentions have left us with no choice. Therefore, effective immediately, AMC will no longer play any Universal movies in any of our theaters in the United States, Europe, or the Middle East. This policy affects any and all Universal movies per se, goes into effect today and as our theaters reopen, and is not some hollow or ill-considered threat. Incidentally, this policy is not aimed solely at Universal out spite or to be punitive in any way. It also extends to any movie maker who unilaterally abandons current windowing practices absent good faith negotiations between us, so that they as distributor and we as exhibitor both benefit and neither are hurt from such changes." So what's crazy to me is like, we're obviously in very interesting times right now that the world would never be able to be prepared for, and crazy things are happening across every industry that we have any interest in. This to me is the first time that we're seeing like people acting to preserve themselves in a way that is hurting others, and they're just like, well, fuck you. And now it's turning into a war of trying to stay alive.
Yeah, it was interesting to see a lot of the reactions coming out from these articles coming out this week, because I feel like so many people were like, fuck AMC, I can't believe they're doing this. Like, this is so stupid. But you have to imagine that, like, cool, if Universal decides to do this and that sets off a domino effect of every other big, like, publisher, distributor, I don't know what the right word is, for movies to also think about doing this, like, they're fucked. So, like, they have to take a really, really strong stance if they want to be able to come back. And they need to be able to come back strongly in order to, like, exist at all. So, of course, they're going to take something that they're going to be really harsh about this. And I imagine that they're also talking with every other theater chain that we haven't mentioned to try and, like, rally and get all of them united and all on the same front, so that they're all just kind of fighting one fight and not fighting between individual chains.
It's crazy. I mean, Joey and I were talking about this yesterday a little bit when we were just hanging out, but like this is scary because this could have repercussions and ripple effects that change Hollywood, change movies for the worse. In one way, it's like, oh crap, theaters could not exist. And that would suck. We all enjoy the theater process, going to the theater, all of it, right? But on the other side, it could also affect it of, look, if Universal with Fast and Furious, with the amount of money they put into Fast and Furious, if they're not coming up on that $1 billion mark when they're putting out that movie's not going to exist as it does now. Like the Fast 12 will not have the same scale and will not be the same type of, quadruple A movie if it doesn't have that money coming from the theaters. Trolls did what it did, and that's great. Those numbers aren't going to sustain movies that are 10 times bigger than that, right? So at what point did those not even exist anymore if theaters and the big guys can't get along?
Yeah, it's super crazy. And it is interesting to think too, like, in this situation, who needs who more of, like, Universal has like a few of these big franchises, but isn't coming out with like huge blockbusters, I would say, all the time.
But see, that's the thing, is they are, because add up all of the animated ones, right?
I guess that's the ones that I'm not thinking of.
And that but
then losing out on the biggest chain thing, like, you have, like, how does it all balance out of, like, AMC obviously still gets revenue from Disney, Star Wars, Marvel, and we're about to get a shit ton of those movies in the next like 2 or whatever years. But like, how does this all? It would just be interesting to see like how it balances out if you could actually like real life test it of all that kind of stuff.
James Bond's also Universal now.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So
damn, can you imagine like going back to normal world and then it's like, oh, James Bond's out and we can't watch it in Dolby?
I know, that's gonna fucking suck. Or Fast 9, Kev.
That's far enough that hopefully there's a solution at that point. You know what I mean? Yeah. I think that realistically we might have some issues like with 007. I don't know that, like, because right now it's just words. Like, it doesn't matter what AMC or Cinemark or any of these theaters are saying. They're all closed right now. They're making 30% more selling them directly to the people, and that makes a lot of sense. Where it's like, okay, they can make now significantly less money, but they're getting more of that money. This is just really interesting, and I don't think that we're going to see, like, until 007 comes out and it's like a total bomb and the numbers are super low, like I think that's when like when big movies come out that like are like people are saying are going to do really
projected
well,
to
projected
make a lot of money,
and they don't, and we can be like, well, they only had a release of like 1,000 cinemas instead of the 3,000 or however many they get normally, and people are pointing at that being like that's the issue. That's when someone's gonna have to act. Yeah.
Do you guys see any other studios following suit, like doing what Universal's doing and going direct to digital, or do you think like Universal's kind of alone in this battle right now?
Well, what's interesting is we've already seen a couple do it, right? WB just put Scoob out, and
they did.
But they didn't make a statement being like, we're going to do this all the time now, right?
That's the difference. Yeah. So the difference isn't them doing it. The difference is them committing to it in a way that implies that when all this situation
that this is our
over,
future,
that they're going to continue to do that. I'm really interested to see if there is like, where does this end up? Does it end up with a middle ground where the conversations are had and there is some type of understanding of maybe a percentage of movies or something where it's like, look, Universal's now seeing a different side of this where they're like, maybe there's a different division for theater movies versus premium VOD movies, right?
Okay.
And like, at what point does that just create like a separate line? And like, where would you have to like dot the I's and cross the T's to make the difference between like what we think of as like a Netflix movie versus a Hollywood movie, right? Like, can Universal just be like, Trolls
builds a double A kind of division?
Yeah.
Where it's like, it's not, and I don't know if that's based on budget or like how you calculate it, of things we can put out in theaters and in a smaller number of screens.
Yeah.
And also in premium VOD. That's not the big ones that like really the theaters are probably clamoring for.
I feel like that all seems so complicated and sounds like they're gonna have to move to a like movie per movie base, but like they're not gonna want to do that because obviously they want to try to get as many movies to go through the theaters and have a big window so that people know, hey, if I don't go to the theaters in the next 2 months, I'm gonna not see this movie for the next 6 months. Yeah.
I really wonder at what point, like if theaters just cease to exist because of all of this, like if this goes on another year and they just simply cannot pay the rent, cannot be like take up the space and all that stuff, how much would movies change? Like if they had to it was only released at home.
You just go direct.
Yeah.
You think movies,
all movies
get longer or shorter, like change in that kind of way you're talking about?
And like the scope of the type of movies that are made. Yeah. Like, do we just stop seeing blockbuster type movies because
I wonder how much changes there. Like, I wonder, do we ever get a point where movies are they're trying to hit dates? Like, let's say, like Endgame level movie gets announced for a certain date, and now can they just slide the date over, put it out like 3 weeks earlier, and try to miss that window? And does that help their numbers, kind of thing?
Yeah, I don't know.
It's interesting stuff.
We will stay tuned. I'm sure there'll be much more news that we talk about this in the coming months. Moving on a little bit, Vin Diesel is mad.
Oh no,
he's mad. No. He's mad at the Producers Guild. And this has been an ongoing thing for a long time. But on Sunday, we talked about this, I think, on Internet Explorers. Vin Diesel like tweeted or Instagram posted talking shit with some classic fan art, as he always does. But here we go. Actor Vin Diesel has been mired in years-long struggle for an illustrious credit from the Producers Guild of America for his contributions to the billion-dollar Fast and Furious movie franchise. A cryptic Sunday night Instagram post from Diesel about mitigating a war with the PGA, a trade association representing film and TV producers, was only the latest round in a fight that has ensnared the likes of NBC Universal's vice chairman and added to a long history of family drama in the high-flying action films. That's funny. So the struggle boils down to Diesel's desire for the Producers Guild of America's Mark of Distinction, an addendum to a film credit that signifies to the industry and audiences that a producer has been verified as a substantial contributor in the making of a movie. Diesel's attempted to receive the mark for nearly every film in the series and has consistently been denied and sought appeals, which have turned ugly. In his Sunday post, Diesel called the group the Prejudice Guild of America.
Jeez.
Wait.
So moving forward a little bit here. It's the policy of the Producers Guild not to comment on individual arbitrations. The purpose of the Producers Mark is to protect the integrity of the produced by credit. A panel of experienced producers reviews anonymous first-hand accounts from filmmakers and key crew in order to determine who performed a major portion of the producing functions on a single film. So this is something we talk about a lot of, like, what is a producer? And the thing is, that title can mean many different things. But there is also a producer. Like, there is somebody that gets more credit than everyone else for being that voice. And what that means is obviously like bragging rights, credit, more money, but also it allows you to get an Oscar for, like, if it wins Best Picture or whatever, you also get the Oscar there, which I'm sure is what Vin Diesel's trying to get with the Fast and Furious franchise. So the Pga Mark appears after a producer's name, almost always in end credits, branded with the letters PGA.
I've seen that.
Yeah, definitely. The most important function of the mark is that it makes someone eligible to receive the Oscar for Best Picture, a prize that goes to producers. On the studio level, producers with the mark are often entitled to early and increased bonuses based on box office performance and award nominations. Vin is a complicated guy, side one executive familiar with the Fast franchise. Not said, side.
I love the distinction.
So something that was interesting, the reason I kind of wanted to talk about this is the idea that Diesel is active in the daily slog that gets the movies made, films where Mustangs drop out of aircraft carriers and land safely on mountaintops, is dubious to people involved in these projects. Diesel leans into behavior typical of star talent, despite being listed on call sheets as a producer, said two sources familiar with numerous Fast productions. That behavior includes arriving hours late on pricey stunt days, said one source, behavior that costs time and swells budget, two of any producer's biggest obstacles. So that's the thing.
That is a complaint we heard from The Rock, right?
Yeah,
that's interesting.
So
it sounds like he wants to have his cake and eat it too. Like, he wants all the clout that comes from that title, but also wants the flexibility and the kind of whatever he can get from being in the cast.
You hate to see it, you know what I mean? It's like, Vin, just do what you do best and talk funny and drive fast.
What does he do best?
Just stand there and look menacing.
This is a family. That's what he does best.
Drinks Coronas at a barbecue.
So a fun one here. Disney developing live action Hercules film with some possible big name directors in the mix. The studio has tapped Jeffrey Silver, who worked on Lion King and Tron Legacy, and Karen Gilchrist, who also worked on Lion King and Mandalorian, to produce. The film is expected to be a theatrical release, not a Disney Plus original like Lady and the Tramp, as well as Robin Hood and Lilo and Stitch, which are both in pre-production.
Wait, live action Lilo and Stitch is happening?
Yeah.
Why didn't anybody tell me this? That sounds amazing.
That was a couple months ago.
Bro, we're talking about Hercules right now. This is fucking exciting.
Hercules time to shine. I'm sorry that you're behind.
Joey, say the word. I'll get rid of him on the call.
I haven't listened to Screencast in a while. I'm sorry I missed this news. Wow, Lilo and Stitch live action? Sign me up, dude.
I'm pretty sure that Lilo and Stitch and Robin Hood are Disney Plus movies.
Oh.
Not that
I mean, the Disney Plus like baseline is still pretty good. I guess.
But anyways, Hercules.
Did you see who like the two like rumored casting directors in talks are? So the for Hercules. The first one is Jon Favreau, which would make sense. He's done a bunch of these. Second one, motherfucking Russo brothers.
Oh my god.
I don't know how much reality is in this, but those are the two things I saw listed in the article.
Joey, why do you have little scissors?
They were on my desk, and then I just started playing with them because I fidget all the time.
Sure.
I don't know. I completely forgot that they were in my hand, if I'm being honest.
Dude, this is really exciting news, but also really scary news. Like, we all love Mulan, and we're all bummed out that the songs are going to be gone. Hope that that's still going to be like good, but this is one of those things where it's like, Hercules animated movie is phenomenal. I might watch it after we're done with this.
It's so good. But have we talked on here about the like theory about why? I feel like we must have talked about it with Mulan about why the music's not included.
Oh, they're trying to make it more serious?
No, there was like I read some like not conspiracy theory, but it was like that they had sold away the rights to that kind of era of Disney movies, that like the music rights. or it belonged to somebody else. I don't
Really?
remember
The
now.
music rights to those movies, there's no way. Like,
Yeah,
I feel
that'd
like
be
Disney has
crazy.
Disney Radio.
It
and
was
stuff.
I need to find the article now because it just sounds like outlandish. But as I was
Uh-huh.
reading it, I was like, oh, this is an interesting little
Yeah.
tidbit.
Yeah, I mean, at least top level, that's not true because I mean, they're still like Christina Aguilera made a song even for the new one, and like the
but it's a new song though, right? Not the old one.
It is a new song, but they also then there was a new version of Reflection as well.
Mhm.
But wouldn't that count as a new song then, Tim?
Well, no, because it's still the same melody.
I don't know anything about music.
Anyways, Hercules, I think could be cool, and I'd prefer it as a theatrical release instead of a Disney Plus one because I feel like this is one that needs that extra budget and could be a lot of fun.
Yeah. I hope it is too.
I don't know how they're gonna do stuff like Phil and Pegasus.
What do you mean? CG, man. You know what I mean? They get a horse.
But, like,
they
is that
stick
gonna be
wings on it.
good?
It's easy. Yeah, it'll be good. What?
Yeah, I think.
I don't know.
Oh,
Do you
Danny
feel
DeVito's
like
still
this could-
alive, right?
Yeah.
Great.
They got
Use
him.
him. He
Bring
looks,
him back.
He's halfway there.
As like the only steady character
Yeah.
that remains the same, like they did for James Earl Jones.
Right.
Do you guys have
exactly.
hype for Hercules, given like the track record that Disney has had with their whole live action slate of Disney movies? Because we've had Lion King, we've had Aladdin, we've had
Beauty and the
Cinderella.
Beast.
Beauty and the yeah, all the like.
I don't think
Maleficent
Maleficent
doesn't count.
counts.
Oh, does she not? Does that not
No,
count?
I don't even know.
No, that's like with
You-
like the
you-
Snow White and the Huntsman and like
Yeah.
all of them.
No,
Oh,
Maleficent,
yeah.
Maleficent does count according to Disney.
According
Yeah, it's in their live action, like
But-
it's part of the same division. So is Alice in Wonderland.
those were not.
Yeah.
Well, the last two I think have been pretty good. Lion King, I liked. I thought it was a really cool, like rehashing of the same
Reimagining.
story.
Did you like
And-
Aladdin?
Yeah, I thought that was fun. I thought they did a good job.
I liked Aladdin a lot.
Wow.
And
I've not seen any of them. I don't
Oh.
think.
I've
And so I
You don't
don't.
have
I don't know
Disney
where
Plus?
people are at. I do. I just don't.
Oh.
I.
Uh-oh.
Joey's gone.
Oh no.
She
Joey
leaves
just
once a
disappeared.
show. Have you guys noticed that? And that's fine. I have no. Just to be clear, I have no problems with it. It's just one of those things that confuses me and mixes up the order.
Yeah. I just never like took the time to like for a lot of the Disney movies.
Mhm.
I just don't care enough to like to watch a live action version. Lion King is
You
actually
should,
like
you should watch Aladdin, Bless. The Will Smith
Think so?
elements are make it worth it alone. Honestly, like
Aladdin
for
was
fans
like
of hip-hop,
a
yeah.
childhood movie for mine, and I do love Will Smith. It's just like I remember watching the trailers and seeing Blue Will
It's-
Smith and being like, I don't know how I feel about all
it's
this.
better than the trailers, man. It definitely is better than the trailers. It's not amazing. None of them are better than the originals, but it's like I don't think that they're. I think Lion King and Aladdin I thoroughly enjoyed. Beauty and the Beast had good things about it.
Lion King is almost shot for shot remake, with like two exceptions where they kind of like they can't do the big giant dance party things.
Dance
Gotcha.
party.
Well, you know, like
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah,
Yeah, we
can
can hear you.
you.
Okay,
We can't
it's
see you.
weird because Discord as an app won't open, but I can hear you.
Huh.
Have
Love
you,
it.
Did you go to Task Manager?
Yeah, it's not even on there.
Really?
No.
Wait, when you open up Task Manager and then go to Processes and then
It says
sort
there's no
alphabetical?
running apps.
What?
I know.
Under apps, it just has nothing. That's weird. You should
No,
definitely
it says
have.
in processes. It says that there's no Discord's just not on there.
That's weird. Okay.
I'm gonna
real
try
quick,
and do a
check
couple
the
things.
bottom right
Maybe.
corner.
Uh-huh.
There should be a Discord light. It was probably green, blinking on and off.
Yeah. Oh, there.
If you right click on
Oh,
that, you can
okay.
hit Quit Discord and then reopen it.
No, I got it.
All
I got
right,
it.
All right,
Now it's there.
there it is.
Anyways, we can go back. Sorry
we
to
go.
interrupt.
No worries.
Boy, hold on. Wait, I just want to go back to the part that, just to be clear, Kev, are you referring to the Hitler-esque Scar scene as a dance party?
No. That is one of the scenes I was talking about, but and like, you know, you can't do the crazy green lights. No, the dance party is the one where he wants to be king.
Okay.
I just
okay.
can't
Right? I
be
mean,
king.
that's a dance party, right? That's a water hole dance party.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Fair.
Right, Joey? Back
Fair.
me up on this one. That's a dance party, all right?
I have limited knowledge of what you guys were talking about, and I'm not willing to commit.
And just
based
to
on
be
his
totally
comment.
clear, it could be viewed that the goose stepping march
We're gonna
a
move
little bit of a
on.
dance party too.
Anyway, we're excited for Hercules. Is what I understand.
Let me
Can't
cast the
wait.
muses, Disney. Let me do it.
I
I've
love
been
it,
working
I
on a
love
list
it.
for literal years.
Give it to us now, Joe.
Where's my phone? So here's the thing. I've been working on this list for so long that I have Beyonce on here, but I think the fact that she was in Lion King makes her ineligible to be
No,
on
I
this
feel like the
list
door's
any
open.
further.
At this point, she's friends with people. Who did you have her as?
I just had her as one of the muses.
The tall one?
I didn't cast specifically
Okay,
like which one is which. I just have a
Yeah,
list
like
of
there's
people,
one muse that talks more than the others.
and I think she'd be really cool.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking.
So here's the thing. I had cast
Oh my God,
Ariana
can we
Grande
put
as
Lizzo
Meg.
the other muse?
Lizzo is also on my
Lizzo.
list. I have Ariana Grande as Meg, which is also funny considering she just did the sing-along thing. So everyone's like, you just picked that because of that. No, that's not true. I've been working on this list for years. I have Cynthia Erivo, who was in that movie that I didn't like, but other people liked, the El Royale one. She's the singer girl in it.
Oh, yeah,
She's really good. She's also won like Tonys for being in The Color Purple. Jennifer Hudson, also excellent.
Oh yeah.
Alicia Keys, excellent.
Oh my God, Joe.
Then I have Lizzo and I have Janelle Monáe, who are
Holy
all so
shit.
good.
Okay. I'm in. It's a good list.
Thank you.
Real solid.
This is
Who's
years of
Herc, though?
curating.
Who do we cast as Herc?
I like jokingly said Noah Centineo as young Hercules because he's like goofy and weird. But old Hercules is such a weird character because when we tweeted about this yesterday, people were like, "Oh, well, it has to be Hemsworth." Like, obviously, I'm like, he's not like goofy
Hemsworth?
or like
Hemsworth?
I don't know, and I think he's also too old.
I feel like he's super goofy. He might be a little
Ragnarok.
too old.
But I don't know that he's the right goofy. I don't know. Like,
I mean, yeah.
he
I
obviously
don't,
has
want, I don't
the
want
body
it to be
for it.
him. I don't want it to be him. Like
Who's
he's
the guy
already
from
Thor.
He
Riverdale?
also has to be able to sing.
From
Oh,
what?
Archie.
Riverdale, Archie from Riverdale,
I don't know what his name is, but I know who you're talking
AJ
about.
Apta or
Archie?
something like that.
Archie
Yeah.
from Riverdale. No, she doesn't know.
I think it's. I
I've
think his
seen
name's
people
AJ
cast
Apta.
him. Yeah.
Moving on to the next story
This-
here. This one's for
we
me,
get
guys.
Zendaya as a Meg. That would be cool too.
That's really
Okay.
fucking good. Transformers animated prequel.
Oh shit, we're
It's
finally
happening.
gonna find out how the parents meet.
Oh.
Because
I
I
can
would
fucking
love to
wait.
see
That's
that.
I
the
can only
only
hope.
prequel I want.
No, here's the thing, guys. We've been doing Transformers in review, and I understand exactly what it is. However, Transformers still very near and dear to my heart. And Kev, this is the type of news that I'm just like, I'm just gonna pretend I didn't see this because this all sounds too good to be true. A prequel that takes entirely place on Cybertron, directed by the guy that did Toy Story 4. Let's fucking
What's that dude's
go.
name? Some bird?
Josh Cooley has been set to direct an animated Transformers prequel for Paramount and Hasbro's Entertainment Studio E1. The project was first revealed a long time ago, but now it's officially happening. According to Deadline, which broke the news, they'll be running point on the project, and it makes a ton of sense, blah, blah, blah. It's going to be a full-on, high-profile animated movie. Thank God. This sounds fantastic. And they reference Spider-Verse as an inspiration.
Oh.
Like, are you,
Oh.
stop saying things. Just
You had me at Spider-Verse.
Like,
This
I
is the
really...
most interested I've been in this.
I love this, but apparently the script is done, and people are saying that they enjoy it. Like this is all news that I would never expect about a Transformers movie. So great fucking shit. Let's go, baby.
Sounds really cool.
Staying in line with in review, Kevin Smith says Instagram some stuff about Twilight of the Mallrats. He says, thanks in part to the quarantine, I finally finished a funny first draft of Twilight of the Mallrats. 25 years after the original, Brody Bruce will be back for an unnecessary sequel set against the Mallpocalypse. A bunch of the people are returning rats in a View Askew universe, imagining about what happens when the sidewalk sales end and happily ever after is easier to stay than live. The Jay and Silent Bob stuff is some of my favorite conceptual comedy I've ever written, but the whole script is silly, sentimental, and sweet. And at 98 pages, the story moves like a brakeless bullet train. It'll be months before we can actually shoot it. But if you want to know the backstory, and I recorded an entire episode about Twilight of the Mallrats for my new podcast, so you can check that out. But Kev, what you thinking?
I think I want to go listen to that podcast because Kevin Smith's podcasts are freaking awesome. The problem that I also have is that I feel like he post like maybe a year and a half ago, Mall Brats, like the same thing, like hey man, look, the script's done, and it's just one of those things where it's like, all right, just make it, all right, then we'll see.
Yeah.
I feel like he keeps saying scripts are done for stuff, and that he's almost making it, and then it just doesn't happen. Like we had heard talks of Clerks 3 almost being.
So the end of this, he says, and now that this script is done, it's on to a new draft of Moose Jaws, and then the first draft of the new version of Clerks 3.
You see, it's all these things where it's like, it's cool. I hope it gets made. That being said,
I will say,
I didn't enjoy Reboot at all. You know.
Hey, future
That's
spoiler.
not true. Not at all.
The top comment on this Kevin Smith post is from Miriam Catherine, aka Emma from Degrassi. Full circle, baby.
Oh my! What did she say? Does she want to be in Mallrats or whatever this is called?
It's a lot of claps.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm sure she wants to be in.
Just maintaining that relationship whenever it's handy.
Moving on, we got some more MCU shifts. I don't think we covered this last week. Stop me if we did. All of this is starting to blend. But Spider-Man Homecoming sequel, Doctor Strange 2, Thor Love and Thunder. There's been a lot of movements here, and Spider-Verse. Did we talk about this already?
I don't remember.
I don't think we did. Going through these changes here. So this is final confirmation that Sony and Marvel seem to be working well together, kind of moving things and moving movie release dates in ways that are trying to not fuck each other over multiple franchises and not putting out too many big movies at the same time. So they're moving Spider-Man Homecoming number 3 to November 5th, 2021, instead of keeping the original July 16th date, which moves Doctor Strange from November 2021 to March 2022. And Into the Spider-Verse is going to be October 7th instead of April 8th in 2022. Thor, Love and Thunder moves up a week to before Valentine's Day instead of after Valentine's Day, 2022. And the other major thing here was Uncharted is now opening when Spider-Man 3 was originally going to open in July 2021. So cool. I guess it sucks because Doctor Strange is one of the ones I'm most excited about, and it just keeps getting punted and punted and punted. But
yeah. Do you think that this will be the last time it moves, or do you think it'll just keep getting pushed?
I think that this lineup will be the last time these things move until they all move. Like, I think that this will be the final order of the movies, but I think that all of the Corona stuff, we don't fucking know. You know what I mean? Like,
could just push everything back.
If Black Widow doesn't come out in November, everything gets shifted.
Yeah.
So that sucks. Then what else do I want to talk about? Let's fuck all this shit. Let's just get right into what we've been watching, man. I want to talk about Dave. Before we talk about Dave, real quick, I do want to give a shout out to The Last Dance, the Michael Jordan documentary that Andy's been trying to get us to watch for weeks now. Me, Joey, and Gia binged it, and Jesus Christ, that is a freaking show.
It's so good.
Endlessly fascinating. And there's just so many twists and turns. The amount of archival footage they have that just tells such an amazing story. It's crazy, man. And fuck Jerry. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's one that like I kind of like had on my list of like, oh, I'll watch this eventually. And I was like literally about to text Andy, like, I know you've explained this a million times, but how do I watch this show? And Tim came knocking on my door, and I ended up liking it way more. We watched like 3 episodes the first night, and we were like only planning on watching 1. I do think it's like super impressive that they have all of this footage. So like you have to imagine that they were thinking they were going to do something like this for a really long time. And like the fact that they have all of these interviews with literally everyone involved has been really, really cool. It's like cool. Like Carmen Electra even is like,
the amount of people that show up, you're just like, whoa. Like that's crazy. They got them, or they have footage of them way back then. Like Kev, the thing that's most impressive to me about it is the whole premise of it that Andy was pitching is it's the final season of them doing for the One Last Dance. But what's crazy about it is that season they allowed a documentary crew unmitigated access to anything they wanted.
That's wild.
And they filmed a ton of shit, and that stuff hasn't been revealed until now. So that footage of that year and that season is the crux of the entire series. But then they go back and there's like a timeline that they keep shifting between, and it's like it goes over like 20 different years, and they keep introducing like different characters and like following their stories and how they all connect. I think you guys should watch it. It's like, I know you're not into sports and stuff. It's hype as hell, and the story is so interesting.
For a second there, I thought of going really hard into pretending that I'm really into basketball. And I was like, no, you can't commit to this.
Like, I love the Lakers.
Plus,
I mean, it sounds pretty cool. I'd not heard about it previously, and so this is the first I'm hearing about it. It sounds interesting.
It's real damn good, man. It is like as high quality of a documentary as you can get. Like, they got Obama. I mean,
yeah.
I mean, that's all you have to say to me. If they got Obama, then like I'm there. I'm watching it.
Well, the best part is that his tagline isn't like former president of the United States. It's just like former Chicago resident, and he's like literally just there as a fan.
And it's just Obama.
It's so great, dude.
It's
so
really cool.
Like,
but yeah, did any highlights you guys want to talk about briefly before we get into Dave?
Dude, I watched Ozark season. I watched both Ozark seasons 2 and 3. Finished it up, caught up, and man, what a show! That show is fantastic.
It's so good.
It's probably the most stressed I've ever been watching anything. Like, I put it up there with like how stressed I was watching. Like I would say I was even more stressed watching Ozark season 3 than I was watching Uncut Gems. Like, it is like up there with like Breaking Bad levels of like, I don't know what's gonna happen to these people or how they're gonna get out of this or like what's gonna happen next. They touch on mental health in a very interesting way in season 3. That like really hit me pretty hard, because like I kind of felt kind of what some of the main characters were going through in the ways that they're handling that, like having close ones with like mental health issues. And so I thought they handled that stuff pretty well. And overall, like, what a show. I'm glad to be done with it because of how stressful it is overall. Like, it's one of those things where like I'd be thinking about the show during the week and being like, man, I gotta know what happens next. But at the same time, like, I'm stressed for the people in the show because it's Jason Bateman, man. Like, he's that dude who, like, in his like stereotypical role, like he's usually playing like the father figure who, like, you know, it's kind of like if Michael Cera was a dad. That's kind of the way I view Jason Bateman. Of like, he's always in over his head. He doesn't really know how to handle things. I feel like
he's also really chill, and for the most part, he's just follows the rules, and he assumes.
Yeah, he's like that dude.
Okay.
Like, yeah, like he's that kind of dude where it's like, I feel for this dude, right? Even though it's his fault that he's going through what he's going through in this show.
But the way
like,
they set that up, it also seems like he kind of got fucked into the situation.
Oh, he did. Like, he got fucked into it, but like he chose
to be in that world.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it was an avoidable thing that, like, you know, the cards just didn't play to his favor. And I think they do such a good job developing all the characters around him. Like, there's a certain point halfway through season 2 where you can tell that he's like, fuck this. Like, he's checked out. Like, and you can just, like, there's not really any like scene that's verbalizing it. You can just see it in his face of like, he's just done with what he's doing, and he just can't handle it anymore. Like, the stress has got into him. He's just done. And like, from mid season 2 to like the end of season 2, they use that opportunity to then develop the characters around him to the point where like his wife becomes like a very big part of the show in a way where it's like, oh yeah, like there are 2 main characters now. Like, it's not just him. Like, it's his family that is having to go through this thing. It's such an excellent show, and so watch that, and then
I was gonna say the last 2 minutes of the last episode of season 3 is,
dude,
it just like the whole time you're like, oh, is the series just about to end? Like, what's about to happen?
No, yeah.
And it literally could go any way, and it's just tense, and you're like, oh shit, did this character just go away forever? Or like because they would just get rid of him. That's like, this show's crazy. It's really, really fucking cool.
I've also been watching Avatar: The Last Airbender for the first time. Yeah, for the first time.
How's it hitting you? I've never seen it, and it's one of those ones that I'm like, one day maybe.
It's one of those ones that I've worried about, because literally every friend I have on this planet and the audience at this point is like, watch Avatar: The Last Airbender. You have to. And it's always been one of those things where, as a kid, it was on TV, but I think just as a kid, it was never one that really stuck with me. Like, I always preferred watching other Nickelodeon shows over the Avatar: The Last Airbender. And so watching it now as an adult, I find it interesting because I like me at 25 years old, I don't really go back and watch kids shows that often. Like I watched Gravity Falls when I got Disney Plus, and I enjoyed that. I never even finished it because like that's just not the bag I go to, right? I just don't really care that much to watch kids shows that much. That said, Avatar: The Last Airbender, even with that being the case, I'm enjoying it overall. I'm having a good time. I'm like halfway through season 2, and like they do such a good job developing that world as you go through, and developing the characters' motivations and really fleshing this world out. Because like the world feels, I feel like in season 1, you get the idea that, oh yeah, this is a bigger world with larger things at play and like supernatural elements and all these things. And I feel like at this point where I'm at in season 2, I'm finally feeling that in a way where I'm like, okay, yeah, we're revisiting some of the same places. We're introduced to some characters that we met in season 1, and yeah, I'm starting to feel like this world is an actual world. The characters are lovable. I think the jokes hit pretty well, and overall, like I'm really enjoying it. And so, if you haven't watched it, Tim, I would recommend it to you if you're in the mood for like a Nickelodeon cartoon show, right?
Yeah.
Like it's one of those ones where, again, like as a 25-year-old bless watching it, I don't feel like it's hitting me in the way that it might have if I really stuck with it as a kid. But that still being the case, like I'm enjoying it.
Yeah.
I don't regret watching it at all.
Kev, you've seen it, right?
Yeah, actually, me and Paula watched it, like the whole series. I think it was Paula's first time watching like the whole series all the way through. Maybe like 4 months ago. Yeah. And I feel like there are a lot of aspects that are very like, oh, this is very much a kid's show, but throughout there's like very adult like themes and ideas, and like you are growing at like with the character and like understanding things more. Yeah, I think it's fantastic.
Cool.
Hard to watch though, like it's not super accessible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's about to be on something though, right?
Yeah,
it's
coming to Netflix. Yeah, I've been watching it on Nick Hits on Amazon Prime or Amazon Prime Video. And so like that's it's like a separate subscription. And I've also been watching Zoey 101 because I have it. And Zoey 101 does not hold up well. Like I remember loving that show. I remember that show being like one of my favorite Nick shows, and watching Zoey 101 like a few days ago, I was like, oh wow, yeah, they can't act. Like the stories don't make sense. Like I don't care for any of what's going on in here at all. It's upsetting because I used to love that show.
It's so fucking funny. All right, guys, let's talk.
Wait. I do have one more thing that I've been watching. I've been watching Altered Carbon season 2, which is
you went back to it.
1 second.
What I didn't watch it when it first came out, which was like month or a month and a half ago, something like that.
Did you?
Yeah, season 2.
Were you like kind of whatever about the first season? Or did you really like it?
I thought it was okay. Nick. Like the big hook of the first season is like there's a lot of like really attractive people naked, and like that's what caught my attention. And then eventually the story, I was like, oh, this is really interesting. And like by the end, I was like, oh, I really dig this like weird, complex world that they've created. Some of the acting wasn't so great, but I've started watching season 2. I'm like 3 episodes in, and the point of this world is like essentially they figured out how to make people immortal, and like they can basically save your whole mind into it's kind of like a disc that goes in the back of your head, and this guy keeps getting like reactivated to like solve giant like mysteries. And they're different actors. So in this one, it is what's his name? Falcon from MCU.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and it's so interesting to see him play that same character, but like different mannerisms stuff, because it's like the last dude was this giant, maybe like 6'5", blonde, muscular beast. And Anthony Mackie much smaller and not quite as buff. What?
Just a funny way to explain someone.
It's interesting because it's the same character but like the opposite body type.
Yeah, just different physicalities.
Yeah, because like the other guy was just enormous. Like I think Nick was the one that had only watched a couple episodes and didn't get into it, but he like nonstop was talking about the dude's body.
Sounds like Nick.
Yeah, but yeah, so far I've been enjoying it. It's a silly show. Sci-fi world is really developed. It takes place I think 70 years after the first season. But I'll probably finish it off in the next couple weeks. See how the story goes.
It's time for Dave, guys. So here's the thing. I've been talking about Dave for months now, trying to tell all y'all motherfuckers to watch it. And a ton of people wrote in and been watching it, and not a single person wasn't hooked. And here's the thing. Before we get into spoilers, because we're going to go full spoilers and talk about this whole season, because we've all now seen all 10 episodes. I just want to say, watch this show. Every single episode's fantastic. And as an entire package, I think it is my favorite season of comedy TV I have ever seen.
Interesting.
So that's all I got to say, spoiler free. Now we're gonna get into spoilers. The rest of this episode is gonna be Dave spoilers. If you haven't seen yet, I recommend watching the show because there's some genuine surprises and laughs that I don't want to take from you. That is your chance to leave. Goodbye, guys. What do you think?
Oh my god!
It's so
what
good.
a good show! What a good show!
It's
episode 5,
unbelievably
man.
good. Yeah, episode 5 is one of the most beautiful.
Is that the
episodes.
Geta episode?
Yeah,
Yeah.
one of the most beautiful episodes I've ever seen. Where it's like builds this story and it kind of like throws you. That was the first episode they did where you see flashbacks like throughout the whole episode, and you're like, "What the hell's going on?" Well, you see
The other episode at
flashbacks.
camp.
Yeah,
The
but
camp episode. has flashbacks.
Yeah, I guess you're right. You're right. But wasn't that after?
I think that's episode 6.
Yeah.
Mm.
Anyways, like until then we hadn't seen that. Where like the episodes were before that were I think were linear. So for like that episode, I was like, "What is going on? This is so weird." And when it hits, there's several moments in that episode where it's just like, "Holy shit, this is so emotional, so well done, and like fucking fantastic."
Yeah.
I
agree.
Yeah, I really, really liked the first episode, and I feel like the second I think that's the second episode, the one where he's performing at the funeral.
Yeah.
I feel like the end of that one is like, okay, I'm hooked. I need to watch all of this now. There's
It's
so good.
Dude, the end of that
amount of
episode, the
cameos,
funeral one, like holy shit, man.
I mean,
And
they got
not even the
Macklemore.
yeah.
They did it.
They got everyone. Like the amount of cameos that they had throughout the season were ridiculous. Because we're talking, I forget who it was in episode 1. Was it OT Genesis? OT Genesis, I think was episode 1. They got Trippie Redd, they got Macklemore, they got Charlamagne the God and the Breakfast Club, all of them. Like they got the Kendall. Wait, was it Kendall or was it a different
No,
Jenner?
it's
Courtney.
Courtney. Yeah.
Kourtney Kardashian.
Kourtney Kardashian.
Yeah.
Yes.
And Justin
Bieber.
Bieber. Like, here's the thing with the
Wild.
show. I feel like they did such a good job pacing out the cameos and never letting the cameos dictate the show.
Yeah.
Like, I love that they're always used either as punchlines or as interesting characters that aren't just like, oh, it's funny because they're there. Like, Macklemore, it was there for the perfect amount of time as the perfect punchline to the joke that was this funeral performance, right?
Yeah.
So fucking funny. But then by the time you get Justin was such a funny character. And like Benny Blanco, like the producer dude, he was so good. Like he reminds me so much of the character from Silicon Valley, Kev, that this guy fucks.
Oh yeah.
Russ
Peterman.
Yes.
No. Is that right?
No, that's not right. Whatever, that guy.
Yeah.
And I just like, it's so good because that character, that type of character is so funny. But like the thing about Dave that makes it special to me is that yes, it's funny, yes, it's well written, all that stuff. It takes really, really courageous decision-making skills into a perfect season that every episode adds some element that just adds to this world. The fact that we got the episode 5 with Geta and it went as deep as it did was so impressive. Episode 9, the alley, thinking about it hurts me. Like they did such a good job building up this show not being about a relationship. Like I loved it because it was never focusing on the like love aspects or whatever. It was just good characters. And then this episode happens and all of a sudden everything's contextualized in a way that is such a gut punch that feels so real. The killing the bunny signifying killing the magic of their relationship is like, oh my God, this is brilliant. But the episode,
but there's so much comedy in it that it's so like you're laughing there. Specifically during that episode, during the whole bunny thing, I was like laughing and like crying because I was sad, but laughing because it was so funny.
Yeah.
And it was just,
that's the thing is,
so
it's
good.
not just a comedy. And like the episode that I think is the most interesting, is the one that Dave's in the least, where it's like we're gonna focus on two of the side characters and them hooking up
elves.
randomly,
That fucking wooden shirt.
and it's
That
so
was
good.
so good.
Stupidest thing.
Because for a show that is like based on a dude that like Lil Dicky's not the most famous person in the world, this feels like a season 4 or 5 episode of a show where it's like, oh, let's figure out and get deeper into these characters. And this show's like, fuck that. No, every single character in the show is important, and that's cool.
Wait, do you guys know what that episode is called?
Wood shirt.
Which one?
Yeah, the wood shirt one. It's what would you wear?
There we go.
That's
There
awesome.
we go.
That's awesome. Yeah, like the pacing of the show is super excellent. Like the way that each episode feels dynamically different from the last. Like the fact that episode 10 starts off and it's for the first 10 minutes, it's a whole song that is that is analogous to what Pillow Talking from his first album, but in this case it's Jail, and the whole like I almost wish that song was the whole episode. Like they fucking nailed that thing in a way where like the progression of it, right? It's starting off with him at the concert and then him getting arrested and going to jail, all this stuff, right? And the way that then feeds into the transition of, okay, no, he's showing this to his record label. They don't like it because obviously it's problematic.
Dude,
But then
so
that
good.
then feeding into like his character, right? He's like a narcissistic dude. Like the way in which they make each episode stand on its own, but then also tie together in unique ways that build who the characters are, that build like who Lil Dicky is as, or Dave is as like a narcissistic dude who's very creative, very talented, but lets his narcissism get in the way.
And the way they spell that out in episode 9 leading into
Yeah.
10 is so fucking good.
But also the
It's
way
so good.
the way that the whole season ends, where he makes the choice of like, no, this isn't the right time, and like it ending with
It's the first unselfish decision he makes
Yeah.
in the entire show.
Yeah, and it's great because I feel like it's not only that. There's another moment that I think is a little more ironically subtle, because it's not subtle in how they show it, but it's subtle in the themes of the whole thing of Gata. When Charlemagne's talking to him and like being like, why is your hype man black? And like going through all the stuff, it's set up that Dave, being very insecure with himself of like what people think about him in the previous episodes, they set it up that he should be like, hey, you know what? I haven't thought about it that way. Like maybe he shouldn't be my hype man just because he's black, like whatever. But instead of doing that, he's like, give me a kiss.
Yeah.
And like building on the relationship of Dicky and Gata and it being so fucking genuine, tying back to episode 5, it's like, man, like this show just fucking gets it. And the Dave we see at the end of episode 10 is a different Dave.
Oh yeah, 100%.
It's so good.
when we hit the point in episode 5 where like it's Gata is like falling asleep because the pills they've given him are much stronger than what he's been taking, and they have the breakdown where they're all kind of like yelling at him, being like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like, you can't come here, like this day is too important for you to be fucking this up. And he fully breaks and tells them all that he's bipolar. It's like, damn, like I'm so happy they went that route, because I was so scared the episode was going to end with him like leaving the group and us knowing why he left the group but them not, you know?
Yeah.
And it's just like, I feel like this whole season is full of good choices, like where it's like, I wanted to go this way, and they do, but like they do it in a good way, where at the end of episode 10 we have that moment where he's realizing like, no, I do really value Gata's opinion and he's telling me not to do this, so I'm gonna pull back and listen to the dude that like, because he just explained to Charlemagne, oh hey, this guy, he isn't just my hype man, he like means so much to me. It's so fucking well done.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny too, because we saw the trailer for the show and I was sold. I'm a little Dicky fan. I knew I was going to enjoy this. I didn't expect it to be this good. Something about, it being so much Lil Dicky, not just like a moment of a song here or there or whatever. Combined with FXX, me not really like understanding what type of shows they make or like what that could even look like. I was so blown away by what this ended up being, because I feel like the premise in the very beginning was something I didn't love. The one bit of this season that I really actively dislike is him having a mangled dick. Like them going down this thing of like there's actual problems with his dick.
It was
There's, like, two
shocking
holes in
how
the
much
shaft.
that came back. Like,
yeah, and it's funny. They made it
yeah.
funny at the end of it, but like to me, that's gimmicky in a way that like the show didn't need to be.
But I
was
like,
worried it was going to go down this like weird surreal path with it, and they didn't. Like they turned that into legitimately the hardest I've ever laughed watching TV, which is the milking.
God.
But the eating ass when she's sitting on that freaking table with the hole in it, and he's underneath it, and the garage door opens. I was
laughing very hard.
So good.
I was
and even
legit,
just like
having
the
teary
little
laughs.
The callback to that when they're at the barbecue and
my
he puts
God,
the like
and
ketchup
they-
down and
it's
it
like
just
you
falls
got a
down. It's like
table with a hole
these
in it.
little things that tie all of these episodes together that are like so subtle but so funny.
So as I understand it, Geta is his actual hype man. Like the actor in the show is like real life. His name is Geta and he's his hype man.
I mean,
I didn't realize that.
It just says Geta.
Yeah, like I didn't I always skip the credits, and so like episode 6 or 7, that's when I was like, man, this dude is killing the acting. I gotta figure out who this actor is. I looked it up and I was like, or no, well, I had that thought, but actually what it was I think I looked to see, I wanted to watch like a Lil Dicky live performance to see if he had a hype man, and then I saw Geta and I was like,
Geta.
I was like, that looks like the same guy, and then I looked up the actor and I was like, it's the same guy. Like he is that talented.
That's
like
so
he was a hype man, and then gave like one of the best performances I've seen probably this year so far, right? In that episode 5 and throughout the whole season. Like all of his clips, his whole performance, spot on. Like he killed it. Of course he's being himself, but at the same time, like he did a great job.
Dude, being yourself on camera can be hard to do.
Oh yeah, like we do it all the time.
Yeah, man.
Is he the only one that's like, is everybody else an actor?
I mean,
everyone's not
YG
necessarily an actor.
all the cameos.
Well, yeah, there's cameos, but like Els is in Oddworld.
Yeah, or Odd Future. Els
Odd
is
Future.
Taco from Odd Future.
I don't know what that is.
Dude, he was in Loiter Squad also, which is like an Adult Swim thing.
Got it. I really like him.
I really like him too. And so Allie, God, I fucking love her. She's so funny and like she's so relatable. It's like they cast her perfectly. She's the same girl from the Pillow Talk video.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Which if you guys haven't seen, you need to freaking watch it.
Dude, I watched that a couple weeks ago. So good, man.
Yeah.
It also looks like she's an American Vandal. 2 episodes of it.
Oh, is she really? Oh, that's the other thing is the creator and writer and director of American Vandal did 3 episodes this season, including the last one. And he's also the guy behind Lil Dicky's music videos for the last couple of years. And I'm like, all of this makes so much sense.
That makes sense.
That
makes a lot of sense.
My humor to it. We haven't heard talk about the show being renewed yet. I guarantee it's going to. Like,
there's no way that they don't renew
major
it.
success. And I'm so happy that it's vibing with so many people because like it's fantastic, man. And like Lil Dicky is such a talent because I feel like the way that they tackle so many themes in this show of the appropriation and how awkward all of it is, they do it so well, like bringing attention to all of that stuff and why it is problematic, why everything he's doing is very problematic, but then celebrating so much of like when you have the cameos, like he has some real ass motherfuckers in this thing. Like it's not just the Macklemores of the world. It's like
again, like YG, OT Genesis, like the fact that Trippie Redd was not even just a cameo, but like a recurring character in the show, like pretty much a central character, right? I don't know, the kid's probably not his kid. That's probably just a random acting kid, but like, because I was gonna say, they got him and his nephew, but no, the fact that they got Trippie Redd in there as like a recurring thing, and like he has a strong role, right? Like he's there as like a thing for Els to attain, like a thing for Els to accomplish, right? Selling this man his beats. Like it's very impressive what they were able to pull off. And yeah, I don't know if that has to do more with just like Lil Dicky's connections or like the whole vision of the show and how they're allocating their budget, but either way, they killed it.
Yeah, man, it's crazy. I think a lot of it does have to do with connections. Like it's crazy to look at Lil Dicky's career, and I because of the show, I've went down a rabbit hole of watching all of his videos and seeing how they progressed, but they didn't progress in quality. They just progressed in insanity. But it's like he's always had this type of creative vision, and he's just committed to it. Like his first major music video was Ex-Boyfriend, which is to this day hilarious. And I watched that, and then I watched the Save That Money, which that idea is so funny. But then there's a documentary that I'd never seen that's 20 minutes about the making of Save That Money. You all need to watch it.
Do they save a bunch of money? Do they explain how little they spend?
That's what it all is. It's
That's
like
awesome.
it's the behind
That's the
the
one
scenes.
where he like shot part of it at another music video, right?
He's literally at a shoot for T-Pain's music video, and there's a shot of them like T-Pain's songs playing, Lil Dicky's mouthing the words to his song, so that when he cuts, it just looks like all the people are dancing around him for his video.
That's so
It's fucking
cool.
it's brilliant, man. But then I went back and I watched. So he made his first couple videos like back in 2015, 14, whatever. I guess it was 14. I was still at IGN, and they were all super successful. But then he put out a Kickstarter fund video where he was trying to make money. He's like, look, I've done all this shit for free. Like, I've spent so much money on this. Like, I'm trying to fund phase 2. And he totally did it. And it was super crazy successful. This was before he was signed and all that. But watching even the Kickstarter video, I'm like, this is 6 minutes of entertaining ass content. This motherfucker gets it. And watching it feels like an episode of Dave. Like, it's real crazy that he's just that consistent. But anyways, everyone should go check it out. It's on Hulu. It's on FX.
Yeah.
X.
I mean, at this point, hopefully you check it out because we just spoiled the whole thing for you.
Yeah. I know, right?
Also.
But I mean, it's still
also,
worth watching. We
Yes.
spoiled some major storyline beats, but it doesn't change anything. And I still guarantee if you watch episode 5, it's gonna hit hard.
Yeah.
We haven't talked about episode 6, which I think is a very pivotal episode in the show, right? Of him choking himself. That's like the one where he's going to the concert and kicks everybody out because everybody's annoying him.
Oh yeah.
Oh, the camp one.
Camping.
Yeah, the camp one, right? And that's that scene where he chokes his childhood self the linguine or whatever. That was something. That was graphic.
Yeah, that was.
But I think it was a really good that moment being as graphic as it is. I still think was a pretty poignant story moment in that show. That episode, I think, just as a whole, I think was really
That's
excellent.
character development.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There wasn't an episode
it,
that I didn't
literally.
like. Every single one, man, just kept going. And as this is one of the only times with a comedy show that as I'm watching it, I'm like, oh fuck, there's only 10 minutes left. Oh fuck.
Yeah.
Like even last night, me, Joey, and Gia were literally we skipped through the commercials and we're seeing the timeline go. It's like, fuck, no, this is it.
Yeah.
I was gonna say the whole him having a fucked up dick and how much that came back throughout. When it first came up, I was like, oh, that's a stupid thing to be such a big plot point. But as it came back, he has that conversation with his girlfriend, and it climaxes with him being like, all right, I'll show it to you because you've never seen it before, and that the growth that he has there is just, it's so shocking that they can make such an obscene thing into such a funny thing that also kind of backs his personality of always trying to move the attention away from himself using comedy, and how that made him to the adult he is now.
The Somebody Suck Me episode is brilliant too, because that is such a meta look at is he a rapper or is he a comedian? Can you be both? You're trying to be cool, but it's oh, you are just a viral hit off of these things. You're a meme. You're not, at what point is that actually creative talent versus strategy? And it's
the way that
aware.
The way that those points kind of wrap up toward the end, with the Breakfast Club thing, right? It's obvious he's trying to mirror his actual career, because Lil Dicky as a rapper is always it's always been hard to kind of accept him as oh yeah, he belongs with the Trippie Reds and the YGs and the other actual legitimized rappers, because one, he's white, two, he's hella funny, right? It's not he's Eminem white or Macklemore white, right? He's a comedian dude who's at the same time rapping really well. And so the show does a really good job of trying to skate that line of yes, this is the thing I've been dealing with. Yes, I'm very much a comedian, but also at the same time I'm very much going hard with the raps. That Breakfast Club freestyle, I think to end it with that, I think is very much symbolic of what his actual rap career has been because you look at you type in Lil Dicky freestyle and those things have millions of views because Lil Dicky's freestyles are off the chain. He goes off, people love him, people enjoy him, and those are really those are the points of his career that I think win a lot of people over into being able to look at him as a legitimate rap artist. And so I think that ending to that episode, to episode 10, was very poignant in that way.
Well, even the ending of episode 1 that has a similar type of thing where it's like, oh no, this motherfucker, he doesn't just want to be a rapper. He is a rapper. He can fucking do this shit. And I think that this show did a good job of spreading the actual rap shit out enough that like the show it's about a rapper, but you don't need to be a rap fan to enjoy it. But even if you're not a rap fan, you can see the skill, you can see the talent, you can see the comedy. It's like he fucking did it, man. He nailed it. Like this is going to make him cement him even more as a celebrity, as a success story, as like his next album. I really wish he had just dropped his next album. Like at the, like, I wish that like it was building to it and then he fucking dropped it. That would have been brilliant.
I'm sure there's going to be like a Spotify like Dave album, because like if you go back to through all the episodes, right, there's enough songs in there that it's like there's My Dick Sucks. There is the Hi, I'm Dave theme song,
which is so good.
So good.
Yeah, no, it's great. Like there's Jail. There's like there are quite a few other songs. Because I go on YouTube.
The song that he and Allie do in the beginning of 9.
That song. Like there's enough songs.
And the funeral stuff too.
You probably could put together like an actual legit like EP and have it sound pretty coherent.
Yeah. Because he hasn't put out a real project since Professional Rapper, and I think that was 2015.
He had his Brain EP,
which I don't count because that shit sucked. I'm gonna be honest.
It was all right.
That was a one and done for me. Where I'm like, this is a funny idea. You committed way too hard to it. Like he put out an entire EP as the Brain character from Pillow Talk,
and it, like the Brain character is basically like him doing like a Future parody, where it's like a lot of like high auto tune, like trying to like rap about drugs and sex and stuff. There was like one song on there where I was like, this is a banger, and that's the song featuring Game. Yeah, and that's about it.
Yeah. Last week on Patreon, we asked you for your thoughts on Dave, and a lot of people wrote in with some shit. Omni Machine writes in and says, Dave is an excellent show. The show tells the story of Lil Dicky's rap career so far, but takes it so much deeper by diving into each character and explaining why they are the way that they are. The show also doesn't shy away from themes of race and stereotypes within the rap community. Another effects show, Donald Glover's Atlanta, and Dave are two sides of the same coin. One focusing on the rap scene from the perspective of a black rapper who comes from the hood, and the other a white middle-class rapper who's trying to break into the game. I was not a Lil Dicky fan before, but now I am. Les, have you watched Atlanta?
Oh yeah, I watched Atlanta. That's actually the thing I meant to bring up, is that this show mirrors Atlanta so well. Yeah. It feels almost like it is like a spinoff of Atlanta. Have you guys seen
I haven't watched it, and it's always been on my Hulu interest list.
It was on Hulu when it originally was coming out. I wouldn't be surprised if it's still on there.
I would assume it's on there now because of their whole like partnership with FX.
That would make sense, because I remember watching it on Hulu.
Yeah, so it looks like it's on there.
Still is on there. I would recommend.
This is one that's been like on my screencast list. Like this has come up a lot of times in the last year. I need.
It is like required viewing. Like if you guys, I mean, you guys obviously like Dave.
Yeah,
there's 2 seasons of it. Yeah, 100% watch Atlanta. Like Atlanta, I would put I would put above Dave, but like Atlanta's not as funny. Yeah. Oh, dude,
Atlanta's also a comedy though.
That's the thing I was gonna say. It's not as funny as Dave, but like it dives into like it has similar themes of trying to make it in the rap game, and has similar vibes, but it's a comedy, but it's more serious, if that makes sense.
Hey, I'm fucking in. I want to watch that.
Like, and it's Donald Glover, who is like a genius. Yeah. And so 100% watch Atlanta. But yeah, like Dave and Atlanta have very, very similar energy.
That's awesome. Daniel Ferrero says, I just finished the Dave season 1 finale, and my God, that was one of the greatest seasons of television I've ever seen. The fact that it could have had me laughing my ass off one episode to the verge of tears in the next is a testament to the talent of both the writers and the actors. The fact that they made me care as much as I do about a character like Gata is mind-blowing. And don't get me started on the how bonkers that finale was. My one complaint would have been that there wasn't enough rapping for a show about a rapper, but man, did the 8.5-minute rap that opened the episode and followed by the way the series ended certainly changed that fact. And damn, what a hype ending it was. I can't wait to see where the show goes next season, as they have certainly built some interesting plot lines that I can't wait to see develop. Overall, I thoroughly enjoyed the show, and I would like to thank Tim so much for consistently recommending it. You are welcome, man. Now go recommend it to more people.
Dude, at minute like 6, I paused the episode 10, and I was like, "What if this is the whole episode?"
I was just hoping so badly,
and
then they went for so long.
For so long,
yeah. By minute 7, I was like, "Please, just keep doing this," because legit, like like by the basketball scene, I was like, this is one of the funniest things I've ever seen.
Dude, the basketball scene's so fucking funny.
Because like he raps it so well, like the way
Yeah.
that it works so well with the way that he's flowing and the way he's talking about like I put up a shot, whoosh, I did another shot, whoosh, like the way he was like making that stuff work within his rap, fucking nailed it. Like
He really fucking nailed it, man. Oh, great. Brian Smith says Dave was so fire. That last episode was incredible. Such a perfect ending to an awesome season of TV. Can't wait for season 2. And then Brandon H says, what we really need to know is Cool Grape's thoughts on Dave. Cool Grape doesn't fuck with Dave. He doesn't like it at all. Doesn't like little Dicky.
Really?
He watched 2 episodes with me. He's like, nah. And I'm like, Cool Grape, come on, man.
It comes back to that thing of like Lil Dicky is so hard to sell on people who are actually into rap. Like Lil Dicky for me, Lil Dicky was an easier sell for me because I'm kind of open-minded when it comes to that kind of content. Like once again, like Eminem, I really love. Like I'll fuck with Macklemore's song or two. Like I feel like for people who actually like rap, like are into that ecosystem and that are like dedicated to the craft, Lil Dicky is such a hard sell.
Yeah, he's not.
But he's
legitimate. Yeah, man, fuck, I can't wait for season 2. The alley shit gets me, man. In episode 10 last night when he texts her and she gives the fucking response, it's like
the dots and then the reacts.
No. I want them to get together so bad. They need to do it, guys. Don't hurt me like this. But the thing is, if you know Lil Dicky's like past of music videos, I don't know if they're getting back together, man. Like I think the only reason they would is because she's such a great actress that they'd have her back. But there's a music video called Molly. Have you seen this, Bless?
I've listened to the song 1,000 times. I don't know if I've seen the music video.
Oh, it's a fucking heartbreaker. It's about his ex-love getting married and him having to be at the wedding, and it's just like, oh no.
So how much do you think how much do you think the show reflects his actual real life? Because I imagine like Gettys probably actually bipolar.
I'm gonna say an 80%.
80?
I think that it's it's definitely heightened, exaggerated reality. But all right, guys. What should be the screencast question for next week? Wait, actually, I know what it is because next week we are doing the Clone Wars final season review. It'll be Monday. They were doing it Monday at 11 a.m. on twitch.tv/kindoffunnygames. So please send in your thoughts on the final season of Clone Wars. Clone Wars as a whole, whatever it is, memories, thoughts, explanations, theories, all of that stuff. Kev, are you going to end up doing that or not?
No, I don't think so.
Cool. It'll probably be me, Barrett, and Jonathan Dornbush. The Bush. Until then. Love you guys. Bye.